Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into some of the most bizarre, strange, and downright mind-boggling stories found in the Bible. The Bible is full of wisdom and history, but trust me, some of these stories are far from ordinary. From talking animals to supernatural visions, these tales will have you questioning reality. So, let's get into it. Here are 10 of the most bizarre stories from the Bible. Number 1. Balaam's talking donkey, Numbers 22. First up, we've got a story that feels straight out of a fantasy novel. Balaam and his talking donkey. In the book of Numbers, Balaam is hired to curse the Israelites, but his journey is interrupted by a talking donkey who saves his life by seeing an angel blocking the road. What makes this story bizarre is that Balaam doesn't even seem surprised when the donkey starts talking. Instead, they have a full-on conversation about why the donkey refuses to move. Totally strange, right? Talking animals aren't just for cartoons, apparently. But wait, it gets weirder. Number 2. The floating axe head, 2 Kings 6, 1-7. Next, we have a floating axe head. In 2 Kings, the prophet Elisha's followers were cutting down trees near the Jordan River when one of them accidentally dropped a borrowed iron axe head into the water. Understandably worried about losing it, they ask Elisha for help. So what does Elisha do? He throws a stick into the water and the axe head floats to the surface. A floating axe head? Definitely not something you see every day. Number 3. Ezekiel's vision of wheels, Ezekiel 1. Ezekiel's vision is one of the most bizarre prophetic visions in the entire Bible. In the first chapter of Ezekiel, the prophet describes seeing 4 creatures with multiple faces, moving in every direction without turning. Even stranger, each creature is accompanied by a set of intersecting wheels covered in eyes. These wheels within wheels have puzzled scholars for centuries. Were they symbolic? Or was Ezekiel describing something far beyond his time? Either way, it's one of the Bible's most surreal visions. Ezekiel's vision sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? The next story isn't any less strange, though. Number 4. Jonah and the Great Fish, Jonah 1:17. We can't talk about bizarre stories without mentioning Jonah and the Great Fish. According to the book of Jonah, the prophet is swallowed by a massive fish after trying to run away from God's command. Jonah spends 3 days and 3 nights inside the belly of this creature, praying and reflecting on his disobedience. Eventually, the fish spits him out onto dry land, and Jonah finally obeys God's command to go to Nineveh. Whether it was a whale, a fish, or something else entirely, this is one story that leaves us with more questions than answers. Number 5. The handwriting on the wall, Daniel 5. During a lavish feast hosted by King Belshazzar of Babylon, something strange happens. In the middle of the party, a disembodied hand appears and writes mysterious words on the wall. The king is terrified and calls for the prophet Daniel to interpret the writing. Daniel tells the king that it's a warning from God, and that very night, Belshazzar loses his kingdom. A ghostly hand writing on the wall, definitely one of the more eerie moments in biblical history. Number 6. The sun stands still, Joshua 10:12-14. In the book of Joshua, we find one of the most extraordinary miracles in the Bible. As Joshua and the Israelites battle the Amorites, Joshua prays for the sun to stand still so they can have more daylight to finish the fight. Amazingly, the Bible records that the sun stood still for an entire day. Whether this was a miracle of time or something beyond our understanding, it's one of the most awe-inspiring events ever recorded. Number 7. The Plagues of Egypt, Exodus 7-12. Next up are the infamous 10 plagues of Egypt, sent as a divine punishment upon Pharaoh for refusing to free the Israelites. These plagues included everything from rivers turning to blood to swarms of locusts and darkness covering the land. Each plague was more terrifying than the last, but perhaps the most bizarre was the plague of frogs, Imagine frogs everywhere, in houses, beds, and even kitchens. It's a chilling example of nature being turned upside down. Number 8. The man with superhuman strength, Judges 13-16. Samson, the judge of Israel, had a strength that was beyond human capabilities. According to the book of Judges, Samson could tear apart lions with his bare hands and defeat entire armies with the jawbone of a donkey. His strength came from his uncut hair, and as long as it remained untouched, he was unstoppable. The story of Samson and his downfall at the hands of Delilah is a tragic yet bizarre account of superhuman power. Number 9. The Valley of Dry Bones, Ezekiel 37:1-14. Ezekiel appears again on our list, this time with his vision of the Valley of Dry Bones. In this surreal scene, Ezekiel sees a valley filled with human bones. As he prophesies, the bones begin to come together, forming skeletons, which are then covered with flesh. Finally, God breathes life into them, and they stand up as a vast army. This vision represents the restoration of Israel, but the imagery is hauntingly bizarre. Number 10. Elisha's bears, 2 Kings 2:23-25. And finally, we end with one of the most unusual stories in the Bible, Elisha and the bears. After being mocked by a group of young boys for being bald, the prophet Elisha calls down a curse on them. Suddenly, 2 bears come out of the woods and maul 42 of the boys. This story has left many readers puzzled. Why such a harsh punishment for a simple insult? It's one of those stories that remains shrouded in mystery. Well, there you have it, 10 of the most bizarre stories in the Bible. These tales might be strange, but they're also filled with deep meaning and lessons. Which one shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing Bible stories and content. See you next time, and remember, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.